Hello and welcome to week 2 of NFL Game Picks. Fortunately, one of our friends has passed away. Got a beat down this past week against the Green Bay Packers and decided, you know what? I'm not going to show up in the pod because he knew he was going to get roasted.
You know, winners win and losers lose. Sorry, loser.
Well, there's another casualty we have to address, Joey.
Yes, explaining the reason why I'm wearing Aaron Rodgers' jersey. Obviously, he doesn't play for the Green Bay Packers anymore. On Monday Night Football, 4 snaps into his Jets career, Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles completely. I wish nothing but the best for Aaron Rodgers in his recovery. It's very sad to see one of my favorite, probably my favorite quarterback of all time, my favorite player of all time, go down with this injury. The New York Jets offensive line is completely to blame for this. They put him in harm's way. Dwayne Brown laughed it off at the end, and dude turned out to have a season-ending injury. So, not good. Got to support my boy. Wear the Rodgers jersey for him. To address this. But as we alluded to before, it is a brand new era here as a Green Bay Packer fan. Jordan Love leads the league, tied with 3 touchdown passes. Best quarterback rating in the NFL. Dude, what a performance. The Bears still suck. Jordan Love is awesome. The Packers are freaking alive. Let's go.
Chris, anything to say?
Nada.
No
yeah.
Speaking of the league leading 3 touchdowns, guess who he's tied to? It's no one but Uno.
To a man.
Yeah, so, both of our teams did really well. Chris's, unfortunately, did not get to be able to say the same thing. And it's tough. He went against a good Green Bay team. And the Green Bay Packers were a lot better than we expected them to be, which is good. But let's see how we go continuing down the season.
Week by week.
But, hey, not so bad for your first week against a big rival. One of the biggest rivalries in all of the NFL. So that's great to see. And, speaking of the Dolphins, big win, back and forth game, man. My legs started twitching. I was like, oh my God.
The score was way too close at the end of the game.
Yeah, no. And one thing I never really got to cover in my post-game review was the drive right before half. The Dolphins were able to march down the field, given a lucky PI, which was so stupid by J.C. Jackson.
Yeah.
Set the Dolphins in field goal range to get the last-second field goal, which is something that, at the end of the day, Dolphins won by 2 points. That field goal was not basically 3 free points, but a crucial 3 points when you look at the grand scheme of things. So that was something that was really cool to see. Aside from that, let's jump into the standings. And I have a quick announcement of myself because I think
League's
I'm
growing.
not mistaken. Yeah, league
is growing.
So we went from, I believe, 8 to 10 people possibly to now having 25 people. So thank you for everyone who joined. Fortunately, we're not going to be able to get to all of the top, all of the players listed because then that would take about almost 25 minutes. So we'll just start off with the top dog, none other than myself.
Okay.
12-4, 2-way tie with Victor D. Next closest would be 11-5, Andre SG and Eddie Santana. Hector and Matt 10-6, same with Troy and Yadian. And then let's jump into the boys on the pod. We got Joey 9-7.
Come on now.
Yes, sir. And then 8-8, Chris Wright. The worst one of the week was Anthony, but I think he joined late. I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure he joined after the Detroit Lions game. So
that sucks.
Piss poor performance right here by Anthony. I'm sorry. Dude.
Come on, Anthony. What the hell are you doing? Get her together, man. We got a league to run here.
Yeah.
No,
Anything else you were excited, interested in seeing from last week?
All I got to say was the kickoff game, the anticipation, man, it was there. I freaking loved seeing football back. And the Chiefs, man, they choked the bed. But, it is what it is. The Lions, they won by 1 point.
Yeah.
They look pretty good. Kadarius Toney cost me $200.
That was tough.
Anyway, but yeah, 9-7, and I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to get this going and get back to that number 1 spot, man.
Let's see. Speaking of number one spot, I unfortunately had 4 losses, so close to matching DJ's record of having a perfect week. Tampa was a team that was fringe on picking. Same thing with Green Bay, Chicago. Vegas, Denver, you could argue that was fringe, but I was more than likely going to go with Denver the whole time. Just because of, I had more optimism towards Denver.
That was a weird game. Mm-hmm. That was a weird game to pick.
And then the Los Angeles Rams and Seattle Seahawks. I was going to go with Seattle no matter what. I thought Los Angeles didn't have a chance, and then they came out the gates 30-13. Out of the second half, they literally blew them out of the
LA
waters.
surprised some people.
Yeah. So that was the biggest surprise. I was super happy that the Jets pick paid off at the end of the day because I was sweating it when it was going to OT and stuff like that. That was a bit sweaty.
Can we do a quick side note about that game?
Good.
All right. So I've seen 1,000 videos, TikToks, Instagram reels about Jack's American Pub on Brady Street in Milwaukee. Been there, by the way. Not a lot of people have. Everyone's freaking out because, the deal and the Packers fans jumped on it and started running up their tab. I hate to break it to you guys, they were gonna drink that much anyway. So the fact that they had to pay that's just a normal Monday in Milwaukee. Sorry, but you're not really hurting anybody's feelings here with that one. You just kind of look dumb and don't know how a bar tab costs in the state of Wisconsin or Milwaukee. It's pretty damn cheap, by the way. It's ain't New York.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty funny. But let's just chill out on the whole blowing it out of proportion here.
Yeah, I didn't see the actual clip itself, but I saw the thumbnail and stuff like that.
I mean, a couple people were pissed,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna tell you right now that the real cheeseheads, the real Wisconsinites, normal day.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? They probably already have a bar tab there that they pay off at the end of the month. They're locals. It's fine.
Let's kick it off. Thursday Night Football. We have the Minnesota Vikings versus Philadelphia Eagles. And this is a pretty good matchup because both of these teams not only were playoff teams last year, but they had a great matchup early on in the season. I want to say it was week 7. Are you aware of which week it was? I'll look it up real quick. But
I do not really recall what week, but I know that these teams both have a huge rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all the way going back to the Justin Jefferson trade. Or the pick, I should say, or the Jalen Reagor pick before Justin Jefferson. Mm-hmm. The Eagles beat these guys en route to their first Super Bowl win. So all I got to say is the Eagles, this team, they hate the Vikings, and the Vikings hate the Eagles. But I feel like the Eagles have always had the upper hand in this rivalry. So for that point, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. Shout out to my boy, Shockey.
Go Birds!
Go Birds! Go effing Birds!
Yeah. So I could have sworn they played later in the season, but it was week 2 of last year. So literally another primetime matchup between these two teams in week 2 once again the following season. That is interesting to see. Last time ended 24-7. Do I think it's a low-scoring affair from the Minnesota Vikings? Not so much. I think, especially after what happened last week, they would definitely want to start off, better than they did last week and not score, under 20 points?
Yeah,
than what they did against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Didn't play too great against the Bucks.
Mm-hmm. With that being said, I'm going to go with the Eagles. I have a lot more faith in them as a team, but this is a tough spot for the Minnesota Vikings. I would love nothing more than see them, be able to get a win here. But you're going against the reigning NFC champions, and they looked pretty well against the New England Patriots, who have a pretty solid defense. The Vikings, underwhelming performance. I expect them to bounce back and perform better throughout the season, but this is a tough spot to be in week 2. So, unfortunately, it's probably not their day.
I agree.
With that being said, let's get into the Sunday games. We have the Baltimore Ravens versus Cincinnati Bengals. This is an AFC North divisional matchup, and not looking good for Cincinnati, especially after losing to the Cleveland Browns in week 1. They had a piss poor performance. They weren't really doing much offensively. Joe Burrow looked like a JV player, honestly, out there. And that was really not good for what they were looking for. In training camp, once he went down, Jamar Chase said, hey, don't sweat it. Don't force yourself to come back. We can wait a little bit. Even if we lose those games, that's fine. And what happens? You come back and you still end up losing a big divisional matchup. And now you have a back-to-back divisional matchup. You first start off with the Cleveland Browns, then go to against the Ravens. And should they drop this one, it will be very unfortunate for them. Unfortunately not. I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they're a more hungry team, and the Ravens weren't really too much to show against the Texans, even though they had a pretty dominating win.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals here. Shout out to Skyline Chili. Love Skyline Chili. It's probably the umpteenth shout out for Skyline Chili on this show, on this pod. Love Skyline Chili, and if you haven't tried it yet, you suck. Here's the deal. They sell it at every grocery store, by the way, in the frozen food aisle. Here's the deal. Joe Burrow looked really bad week one. The Bengals offense looked terrible. Even the defense, for that matter. I mean, they let the Cleveland Browns go to work on them. Divisional opponent, not good. If they get back-to-back divisional losses here, really bad situation for the Cincinnati Bengals. They need this win. I'm going for the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow might throw 4 touchdown passes, and I think Jamar Chase might catch 2 of them.
Ooh. It's a good prediction right there. I would have put in a little prop bet. Should have known. But yeah, let's keep it moving to the next game. Chris, any word from you? Like anything? All right, Joey, take us away.
Oh man! For the second time this season, let me talk to you. Sorry, headphones users, but listen to me. The Chicago Bears are nothing but a bunch of losers. I hate to be mean. I hate to call them a bunch of losers, but it's true. You talked all this smack all offseason, and you come out and you crap the bed. You look like complete garbage against the Green Bay Packers, who you can't stand, but still manage to lose against time and 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 time again. 9-0 in the past 9 meetings against the Chicago Bears. The Green Bay Packers are. You're just pathetic. But we're not talking about the Green Bay Packers right now. We're talking about the Bears, the losers, the loser fan base. And they're going to Tampa to face my boy Baker Mayfield. So I'm going with Baker. Listen, Chicago looked bad. Tampa looked good against the Vikings, who won this division last year. They didn't really have a good game of locking Justin Jefferson down as far as yards, but he did not get in the end zone, so that's pretty cool. I'm going with Tampa. Their defense looked pretty good, too, for the most part. So, yeah.
Listen. As much as I hate to do this right now, I'm picking the Chicago Bears.
Oh, the losers.
Yes, the losers. Chicago let me down last week. I was fringe between both the Packers and the Bears last week, and ultimately I ended up going with Chicago just because I felt like they had the higher upset at the time. And should Chicago lose this week, I'm never picking them again. They let me down way too hard last week, and the fact is, if they do it again, there's going to be a big problem, and it's going to be bad for my record. Right?
I agree.
So if Chicago should lose this game, never picking them again, no matter how good they may end up at the end of the year. But given that, I was mildly surprised with the Buccaneers' performance. So should Tampa lose, I wouldn't take it too much to heart in terms of the pick. I think Tampa is going to be a team that could surprise a lot of people this year. And should they continue on another win this week, we might have to start taking them a slight bit serious. But we'll see how everything goes down the road. At least for the NFC South, they will be a big, massive competitor. But speaking of NFC South and NFC North matchup, who we got next, Joey?
We got the hottest team in the NFC. We got the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love traveling to hot Atlanta to face the Atlanta Falcons. The hot Atlanta Falcons, I should say.
So we're in the throwbacks.
Yeah. Oh, they are?
Yeah.
That makes me nervous.
No,
But here's the deal. All I know is Jordan Love looked very decent last week. And I say decent because, he wasn't throwing bombs or anything. He was throwing the correct passes. He was making the correct plays, the correct reads. He was being an incredibly great quarterback. And I loved it. I loved every aspect of his game in the week one against Chicago. Granted, it was against Chicago and they are poverty, but I think Jordan Love looked fantastic. Aaron Jones, shout out to him. He freaking carried us for a lot of that game.
So much he pulled his hammy.
Yeah, so we don't know if he's going to play this week, so it might be A.J. Dillon's load. All I got to say is you just got to put the ball in your playmakers' hands. Romeo Doubs caught 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones had a huge game. Doubs. Just put the ball in the playmakers' hands. Jordan Love, I feel like he's going to be one of these games. It might even be this week where he just comes out and just throws for close to 400 yards, maybe 5. I don't know. That might be really unrealistic. He might throw a bunch of picks. But, I just think one game this season he's going to come out and just drop the mic on somebody. It might even be Atlanta. It might become next week. I think this is a good matchup for him. Their defense did play good last week. They did get a lot of takeaways. Jesse Bates got a pick. Their pass rush started to get home late in the fourth quarter. I'm going with Green Bay for sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if this was the Bijan Robinson show and the coming out party for the young rookie running back.
Yeah, I was about to allude to that. But, this Falcons team, they're pretty young and they have a lot to work with. But the argument can be said for the same thing for the Green Bay Packers. Should Aaron Jones be healthy, you guys win this game, 100%.
I agree.
A.J. Dillon taking the load, should Aaron Jones not play? I still have confidence. I think A.J. Dillon has a solid role, and he could be a number 1 on a couple teams in the NFL. So that would be something not too shabby for you guys. The quad father, I think he's gonna be able to pop off.
Quad father, Quadzilla, the dude. I love A.J. Dillon. He's the mayor of Door County, but he needs to step up. It's a contract year, and you didn't look really good on week 1. I love you. You're a great guy. Can you play good football? We need you to play good football, especially in a contract year.
Dude, so if he, I know you've seen it, but the video of him trucking like a mascot.
Oh yeah, dude.
Hilarious.
That guy is just he's just one for the fans.
Yeah.
I love A.J. Dillon, man. He's a great dude. He comes to my hometown of Naples quite often every offseason. Really cool guy. Loves food. Loves Wisconsin, just loves being a Green Bay Packer, and that's all I can freaking hope for this team. You don't really have a lot of guys in this league who love being in Wisconsin, love being in Green Bay, Wisconsin, love exploring different areas of Wisconsin, and I think that it's really cool that he does, but I don't really want to sit here and waste my time with somebody who's not going to be beneficial to our team. At the end of the day, it is a business, and we all have a goal to win a championship here. And if you're not cutting it, you're not cutting it. But I don't feel like our center is giving him a lot of help in terms of pulling and blocking on screens for A.J. Dillon. And whenever A.J. Dillon's in, I feel like defenses know we're just running it with him.
Yeah.
We're running it right up the middle with A.J. Dillon.
Yeah,
A.J. Dillon's in, they're going to run it. It's going to be power or it's going to be an RPO or they're going to run it. I don't know. It's just simple. I think 50% of the time, you're going to think A.J. Dillon's going to run the ball. 50% of the time, you think it's going to be an RPO. Other than that, you don't think it's going to be a ball, a long bomb or anything like that. So A.J. Dillon really needs to tighten up.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And should he be the starter, that would be huge. Another all-time moment is when he jumped during the Bayern game.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
man.
was trying to pull him down.
Great guy, but Jesus, God, can you just play like a freaking all-star, man? I just want you to be, Eddie Lacy 2.0.
Well, not too much 2.0.
Let's cut back a little bit. I agree. Just cut out the cheese curds.
But yeah, I'm going with the Packers. This Atlanta team is young. So is the Green Bay Packers, like I alluded to earlier. But if the supporting cast around Jordan Love can be there, like how they were against the Chicago Bears, then this Green Bay Packers team will be a force to be reckoned with week in and week out, should that be the case. Now, let's move it over to 2 rookie quarterbacks getting their first starts against one another. Both of these guys were taken in terms of quarterbacks back-to-back. And, Anthony Richardson versus C.J. Stroud, Indianapolis Colts versus Houston Texans. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about this a lot throughout the year because guess what? They're going to play each other again later on down the line. So far, Anthony Richardson looks like a better quarterback. Mm-hmm. I know you're a pretty big fan of his.
Yep.
He has a lot of potential. And And that's why I'm going to ride with the Colts. I think they're a better off team than the Houston Texans at the moment. But things could change down the line. And if Houston can develop well, then they could be some shakers in that AFC South. I think the AFC South is a weird division. Like, it's obviously going to be ran by Jacksonville. And you would probably have Tennessee challenging that the most. But then you're going to have these two teams. If either one of them can develop well and fast enough, they could be also contenders for that division, which is going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree. I think I might have said this last week. I might not have, but let me reiterate if I did. I think that Anthony Richardson has a chance to be the best quarterback out of this year's draft. I love Anthony Richardson's game. I'm a big fan of his. I'm going with the Colts on this one. C.J. Stroud didn't look too good last week, so I'm going with the Colts, man. I like Anthony Richardson, despite not having Jonathan Taylor, despite not having that many great receivers. Going with the Colts.
Yeah, like they still were able, even though they didn't come out with the win against the Jaguars, they were still able to come out with a performance and make it a tightly contested game for the most part. Speaking of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they are hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Jacksonville. It's a rematch of the divisional matchup.
Yes, it is.
Where Patrick Mahomes sprained his ankle. And, I think you might have alluded to that, like, Trevor Lawrence just wants to get redemption for losing.
I agree. Yeah, he definitely does. I was listening to his press conference today. Trevor Lawrence is going to go on a scorched earth tour against this Kansas City Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs lose this game by a wide margin. I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to come out with that connection to Calvin Ridley once again. I think the running game is going to be good. ETN might go to have a great game. Zay Jones might get involved a lot more. Going with the Jags, man. Just redemption season. Kansas City's going to be 0-2. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. So if that's the case, that will suck for Kansas City. Unfortunately, I'm picking Kansas City. I don't expect them to have a repeat performance should Travis Kelce play, but this is a very a stipulative pick in the current time frame. If Kelce's a no-go, then the pick might switch to Jacksonville, realistically.
I agree.
But as is, I don't expect the Chiefs to have a performance like they had last week, especially in the receiving core. And should Travis Kelce be on the field, they'll just absolve a lot of their problems in the passing game. Mm-hmm. So that's something to just be on the lookout for. Another thing is this game is in Jacksonville. So this is going to be a big game for the Jaguars. This is probably their biggest game of the season. And I would say that if Jacksonville can get a win this week, then that would just be absurdly huge, not only for winning the division, making the playoffs, but just hey, we got back at them.
Yeah,
but then
100%.
You're gonna, if you win now, you're gonna face them again in January. Mm-hmm. So you wanna set a precedence now, but you also don't want to give them bulletin board material. You want to win. You want to win with some pride and definitely assert yourself, but you don't want to be haha, we got you back, because the Chiefs will take that and eat it up and put it on Andy Reid's burgers and all that stuff.
Oh my God, yeah, like the dang State Farm commercial. Let me get some of those nuggies. I love it. That cracked us up when we first saw it, man. I think that Andy Reid is hilarious, dude.
All right, take us to this next game, Joey.
All right, man. We got Jesus. I almost just called them the San Diego Chargers, but they're the Los Angeles Chargers. Sorry, get used to it. Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Tennessee to face the Titans and Derrick Henry. I'm gonna make this simple. Going with the Chargers. I have Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler in a lot of my leagues. I think that the Chargers are gonna be very good this year. Granted, they did lose Week 1 by a small margin, and Tua Tagovailoa took off in that game. Tyreek Hill took off in that game, and it was still very tight. So I'm going with the Chargers.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. If you put these two teams against each other, I'm more than likely going with the Chargers. Last week it was just Dolphins against them. I couldn't really pick them, honestly.
Dude.
Yeah, my pride wouldn't let me. And even my cousin was over and he's like, yeah, we're gonna lose 30-something to 20, and I'm like, bro, you have zero faith.
Yeah,
you have zero faith. But that's not the team we're talking about. The Chargers, I think they have a better offensive system that they're running this year with Kellen Moore. a lot more balance. It takes the ball, unfortunately, out of Justin Herbert's hands. But in case for your fantasy, it's beneficial because it puts it more in Austin Eckler's.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
he's dealing with a slight injury, and the certainty of whether or not he's playing is up in the air right now. But I have faith in Joshua Kelly to be able to come in should he have to play. But oh man, this Titans team underwhelming. You know, they landed D-Hop in the offseason,
Yep.
and you would expect a little bit more of a passing game that would be dominant there, and that wasn't the case. And I wouldn't say that led to their loss against the Saints. I think it was just an overall lack of production.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, let's keep it moving.
do
We
it.
have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Tennessee Titans.
Nope, the Buffalo Bills.
There
buddy.
we go. There we go. Keeping me on track, buddy.
I gotcha.
Yeah, we have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Buffalo Bills. And Buffalo, tough loss.
Very
tough
tough.
loss. You know,
You predicted it.
Yeah, I did predict it, and like I was flip flopping there right before I made the final section. You know, I'm like, Jets are gonna win, and luckily they did, and the fashion that they did was insane.
Mm-hmm.
But the fashion that the Bills lost that game, more so Josh Allen lost that game by throwing 3 picks and then having a fumble at one of the last couple of drives of the game, was very costly.
Awful.
Given the circumstances with the Jets, they weren't able to capitalize off of every single turnover. Should that been, it would have been a snowball effect. And
I
just
agree.
Totally horrible game. And the Jets' defense is pretty good. The Raiders inked out a win against the Denver Broncos last week. Do they win against the Buffalo Bills? No chance in hell, especially after what happened for the Buffalo Bills. Bills are favored way too much in their first home game of the season.
Shout out to Buffalo Chips. Love the wings. Went there on Monday. It was going to be a madhouse. I went there for lunch. Thank God. Skipped out on the craziness for Monday night. Sure, it was nuts. $1 wings. Beautiful. Best wings on the planet.
Do they do that like every time the Bills play? Like
It's literally every single Monday.
every single Monday?
Every Monday. Even throughout the summer, through everything. $1 wings every Monday, all day.
That's fire.
And it's fantastic. It's probably the best wings you ever have. Great sauces. Cooked to perfection. I love Buffalo Chips in Bonita Springs, Florida. And I'm going with the Buffalo Bills, man. Yeah, Josh Allen, we kind of still have a little bit of beef. I think you're not that great, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going with the Bills here in this one. Vegas, yeah, whatever. They kind of beat the Broncos, but was it, at 1 point?
Yeah.
Yeah, big whoop. Jimmy Garoppolo still can't throw the football. I'm going with the Bills. Go
Nice.
Buffalo Chips.
Who we got next?
Up next, we got the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. And I say Detroit. I know a lot of people say Detroit or Detroit, but I say Detroit. Sorry. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. Psych, I'm going with the Detroit Lions. They looked really
Almost
good
got
with
me
Kansas
there.
City. I really want to go with the Seahawks. That's why I kind of did the whole swerve thing, because I hate the Lions, but they looked really good against Kansas City. I think they have a really good thing there. Depending on how everything goes, I think that our matchup against them in week 4 and then on Thanksgiving are going to be very entertaining. I'm going with the Lions in this one.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, am going with the Lions as well.
Ooh, another swerve.
Yeah. I can't back down now. I gotta stay on this Lions hype train.
Yeah, you do.
The Seahawks, unfortunately, they wet the bed against the Los Angeles Rams last week.
Awful.
You face a team that, I get it, Matthew Stafford came back and was able to put it on them, but you should be able to shut down their rookie undrafted wide receiver. But no, he goes off. And then the running backs did pretty well too. Like Seattle defensively wasn't there, offensively wasn't great as well either. I think Tyler Lockett had 1 or 2 catches. So you're the number 2 guy, especially with JSN out. You should be able to pop off a bit. DK Metcalf can't carry the load, and Kenneth Walker a little bit underwhelming. So overall, as an offense and just overall as a defense, the team as a whole, they were a little bit underwhelming. Could they have a bounce back game against the Detroit Lions? I think they can, but I wouldn't put it past Detroit. Their home opener, they had a big win in Arrowhead last week. I think they come out hot, and I think they're able to put up points fast. Now, we're going to go to a game that not going to be talked about too much in the whole grand scheme of things. It's one of the first 4 o'clock games. We have the New York Giants versus the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals had a surprising matchup last week and were able to put up a fight. But from what Chris had told me when he was watching, he was like, yeah, they kind of threw the game there at the end. Like
the Cardinals
it seemed,
definitely.
Yeah, it seemed like they intentionally threw the game at the end. And the Giants got spanked. They're the only team in the NFL to not score a touchdown in week 1. Can you believe that?
Pathetic, man. I feel really bad for my grandparents. My sister was in town. We were watching the late game, and we go, you think they're still up watching this? We had them over for dinner the next night. They watched the entire game.
Oh, man.
These Giants fans are loyal. God bless them. Your team's just not good. But I think you get the win here today, and you beat the Cardinals because they're poverty. Other than that, I don't really know what to think about the Giants.
Yeah, that was quite a shocker. Like I didn't expect them to win last week, but I also didn't expect them to lose in that fashion either. So that was a little bit of a disappointing performance. But they ran into the Cardinals this week, and should they go 0-2, then a lot of things will be starting to be talked about them. You could say like they're frauds from last year for making the playoffs, so on and so forth. But yeah, things not looking good. You get shut out by a divisional opponent, that weighs on you bad. And I know Dable is out there just coaching them up and say, hey, you guys got to get your shit together because otherwise there's not going to be playoffs this year for us. Definitely. Because 0-2, especially losing to a team that's trying to tank, it's not going to be great. All right, let's keep it moving. We have a NFC West divisional showdown. The Los Angeles Rams with another divisional opponent against the 49ers. And, man, this 49ers team came out hot against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And
really hot.
I wouldn't say so much for the Rams. They came out of the second half pretty hot. They were able to double their first half output. But I'm going with the 49ers. They're way too good of a team to go against here. And I think they're able to run away with this one.
I feel like this is a really easy pick. I'm going with the 49ers. They looked incredible last week. Brock Purdy looked solid. Brandon Ayuk, what the hell? Coming out party.
Still won.
Like everybody had them on their bench.
Yeah.
Going with the 49ers. Enough said.
All right, what do we got for this next one?
We got the New York Jets. Against the Dallas Cowboys. It was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers versus Mike McCarthy, but Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, so now it's Zach Wilson as the quarterback 1 for New York Jets, traveling to Jerry World. I got the New York Jets winning this game. I got them going to 2-0. I know you're kind of shocked by this. Yes, it's a little bit weird, but I think that the Jets are going to rally for a while, and they might get this win against Dallas. Dallas defense looks stout week 1, and hell, they might win this game and make Zach Wilson look like Zach Wilson. But I'm going with the Jets. I'm going with the hot hand, and I'm going with the team that's fighting for some guy that they think is their leader. But, it never really happened, yada, yada, yada. They're trying to win for somebody, and I think that they're going to get this win against the former head coach. And maybe they don't win. Maybe they don't make the playoffs. I think they get this win for Aaron Rodgers.
I unfortunately have to disagree. As the viewers can see, I already picked the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas's game last week, huge game defensively. Like I was a little bit pissed because I had a couple guys from the Cowboys who didn't really have to do much offensively because they were just up so much. So that was a little bit upsetting in terms of fantasy. But the Jets, I think they already did that win for Aaron Rodgers.
I agree.
That last win.
Yeah.
I mean, that kickoff, that punt return for a touchdown in OT was absolutely insane. But do I think they carried the magic over this week into Jerry World? I don't think so much. I think this Cowboys defense is for real, given it's only 1 week. Let's not overreact. Let's not get too crazy on it. But I think they have the pieces there to be a legitimate contender in terms of a defense. Offense, they need to, Dak needs to just be better in terms of just overall. Like, this is a make or break year for Dak because if he doesn't, Trey Lance might be knocking on the door.
He had a terrible offseason, too. He looked like crap in camp. Just looked bad, man. And you're not putting out that great a film against the Giants last week. You need to do better this week. This needs to be an offensive battle. I know both defenses are really incredible, It might even be a defensive war. It might be 7-3 final score. Who knows? It might be 3-0. It's going to be that good of defenses matching up against each other, even though it should have been two really good offenses with two good defenses to complement. It's just not anymore. So, yeah, but I'm still going to go with the Jets with their moral victory for A-Rod.
Yeah. No, I can understand why. The biggest factor is like kind of like what you allude to. If this Jets defense like can stay hot like how they did last week, especially with Dak throwing the ball, it could be an interception party once again.
I agree.
And if that's the case, then the Jets could possibly come out with a win here, and that would be pretty insane. But I'm gonna keep it moving. We got one of the last 4:00 games: the Washington Commanders versus the Denver Broncos. Man, oh man. I had some hopes about the Denver Broncos. I know they lost by 1 point, but in the NFL, 1 point is a lot and not too much at the same time.
I agree. They should have really won that game, man. It was kind of a pathetic performance, especially against a divisional team. I think they bounced back this week though against the Washington Commanders and Sam Howell. I saw Sam Howell say that he looks up to Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson beats him on Sunday.
When your idols become your rivals, that'll be pretty interesting.
Your heroes become your villain.
Yeah. This one's tough for me, man. I'm kind of split down the line. Most of our guys here are going with the Broncos. I don't blame them. The Commanders are still a young team that don't have they have a lot to prove, as a matter of fact. The Broncos, I think, have even more to prove because they were touted last offseason as possibly a contender, especially for sure at least an AFC West contender. And they didn't live up to the bill. Can they do it this year? Who knows? I'm a rock with the Denver Broncos for this pick, but I wouldn't be all too surprised if Washington wins here. I think they have a really young team, and they have a lot to prove in terms of performance, but it's all depending on Sam Howell. If Sam Howell can, live up to beating his rival, his idol, then that'll definitely be something that, will carry on with him too. Because if you're able to do that, that just kind of puts a kind of pep in your step and, hey, man, like I did pretty good against this guy. Even though they're not playing literally against each other, their teams are playing against each other, and they came out on top. And now, for Sunday night football, let's get the Miami Dolphins versus New England Patriots. Dolphins had an amazing game against the Los Angeles Chargers last week. Too many points allowed. It got me a little scared. My leg was shaking in the fourth quarter. I was nervous, man. And the Dolphins inked out a win there. And guess what? It came down to a defensive stop on the final drive, and that's how the game ended. And that was nothing but joy, especially when the blue screen came on. I know a lot of people experienced it. I don't know if everyone experienced it, but yeah, blue screen came on while Jalen Phillips was getting that game-winning sack.
Oh my god!
And I was like, this is the worst time for it to happen. If it would have happened at some random point in the game, sure, but literally in the last drive, something's going wild. Oh man! But I was pleasantly surprised. One thing I kind of alluded to this earlier in the episode, but. Yeah, that drive before the half was really the difference maker for the Dolphins, being able to get those 3 points that proved to be the difference. You won by 2 points. Those 3 points in the final seconds of the first half was insane. The Patriots had a tough loss against the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning NFC champions. Real quick, I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins. But, yeah, the Patriots, I wouldn't call them no slouch. But I definitely think the Dolphins can come out and have a big win here. But the key is, can Tyreek not duplicate his performance, but, live up to it. Have pretty good games, over 100 yards against this New England Patriots team. They're famous for taking the team's best player and just pretty much making him a non-factor.
Yep, totally. This is a huge rivalry game, especially at our work. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins. Listen, man, it's no knock against the New England Patriots. They played the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles extremely well. Defense was playing incredible. Mac Jones looked elite. He had 3 touchdown passes as well. Threw for a good amount of yards. Just overall, though, If you look at the stat sheet, he looked great. If you're watching the game, Mac Jones still looked pathetic. He's just very unathletic and can't really move around that well. I'm going with Miami. They got the hot hand. They got a great offense. They got a high-powered offense. Tua Tagovailoa with the bloodline tribal chief tattoo. Can't lose.
Enough said. Oh man, yeah, I'm pretty excited. If the Dolphins can start off 2-0 and man, this has happened so many times that the Dolphins get a big win week 1. They face a divisional opponent, they get a win there, and then there's been so many times that we start off 3-0, 4-0, and just
Yep.
And I'm not saying that this is a team it's gonna happen to this team, but should it happen, you will have a very sad Austin. But I don't think that's the case. All right, we got 2 Monday night games, not 1 but 2, and the first one kicks off at 7:15 p.m. Eastern, and it is the New Orleans Saints versus Carolina Panthers. A lot of divisional matchups this week, which is kind of standard in the NFL. You got either a divisional matchup week 1 or more than likely a divisional matchup week 2, and if you don't, then it's more than likely you're facing a conference opponent. So NFC North is playing the NFC East, stuff like that, you know. Anyways, the New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers. Man, not the best game to put on TV. I'm sorry, DJ, but I will rock with your Saints. I think the Saints are the better team here. Pleasantly surprised with Derek Carr's performance. It wasn't the best, but you can ink out a win, then you can do it. But let's see how it goes on the road against a divisional foe.
Listen, man, Bryce Young looked very sharp week 1 against the Falcons. I am going with the New Orleans Saints. That game was a little bit weak that they were playing against the Tennessee Titans in. I'm hoping that the New Orleans Saints offense would more than likely go to work a little bit more for fantasy purposes. I don't even think I really have a lot of them in any of my leagues. I just think it would be pretty cool to see them score a lot. Especially Jamal Williams, because I love that guy. I'm going with New Orleans, and I think it's pretty effing weird that we have 2 Monday Night Football games.
Yeah. Well, take us to the second one.
Here's the second one, man. We got the Cleveland Browns traveling to Pittsburgh. Shout out to Primo. Traveling to the Burgh to face the Steelers. Cleveland had an incredible game against the Cincinnati Bengals last week. They made Joe Burrow look like trash. And you know what? I think that Cleveland has a really good future. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, I don't think so. I think they're going to be the bottom of the division maybe for the next – I think they're definitely going to be bottom of the division for this season, and they might even be bottom of the division for the next couple of seasons. I don't know. But Kenny Pickett looked awful. Granted, it was against the 49ers, who are still a playoff and very good team. But Kenny Pickett looked like trash. That offense looked abysmal. The defense looked like crap. And outside of TJ Watt, no one's really good at that team.
Tough things for Mika Fitzpatrick to hear, honestly.
Definitely. And Patrick Peterson.
Yeah. Poor Pappy.
Garbage.
Yeah, this Steelers team, I do agree that they're more than likely going to be the last team in the AFC North. My real question is, do you think they finish above 500?
I don't think they finish above 500. I think this is the first year in Mike Tomlin's career where he doesn't finish above 500. Book it.
That'll be tough. I actually am a little more optimistic for the Steelers in terms of season. For this game, I think I might have to go with the Browns. I think the Browns are the better team. They showed a great performance against the Cincinnati Bengals team who, for the last 2 years, almost 3 years, has ran that division and definitely that was a statement win for the Cleveland Browns. You know, this is a team that has title aspirations just like at least two other teams in the division, and they beat one of them. So having a statement win like that is something to not be scoffed at and, ran off the table. So
definitely not.
If Myles Garrett can cross guys up once again and get to the quarterback and Kenny Pickett, then that would definitely be a big factor in this. But that pretty much wraps up Week 2 NFL game picks. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. I know Joey did. Any final words, Joey?
I just hope there's no helmet throwing or smashing in the Monday Night Football game. And Jordan Love, I really hope you do well, buddy. Let's go.
Nice. Yeah, let's go. Fins up. And any final words from Chris?
I'm a loser. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Peace.